and welcome to another review by me, Tubbyengineer. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Wismec Reuleaux. Now, this is the first of the 18650 device. The first of the DNA 200 devices to feature removable 18650 batteries. Now, I'm actually preferring removable 18650 batteries to the LiPo packs, partly because, like most people, I'm used to 18650 batteries, partly because I'm getting much better battery life from a mod that's not much bigger than one or two of the ones I've been using. Now, I know people have said that it looks like it could be uncomfortable in the pocket, that it be too heavy, various things. I'm going to aim to try and clear some of that up with this review. So if we go and have a quick look at the device in close-up, then I'll come back and we'll talk about what I think about it, how it vapes, etc. Okay, down to close-ups. Okay, so this is the Wismec Reuleaux. I've just received it. Let's have a look in the box, see what we've got. So inside the box we have the device, and underneath we have a box with a USB cable and a little instruction book. Now, there's the instruction book. And we'll have a look at the USB cable as well. Appears to be a reasonable quality USB cable. Put those to one side. Okay, so this is the Reuleaux itself. Now, you'll notice it's kind of an odd shape. The Reuleaux refers to this little triangular thing here. It's the triangle you get when you overlap three circles. Right, so you've got a small catch cup on the top there, just the right size for a 22mm ATI. The 510 is sprung, it's quite firm. 3 vent holes on the side for cooling. The same on that side there for cooling the actual DNA board. Underneath you've got the vent holes for the batteries and the board. Reuleaux manufactured by Wismec and the Jabo logo. Now, on the front panel here, fire button with the Jabo logo inscribed on it. There you go. The DNA screen and the up and down buttons. Now, I know some people have said it's the down button that has the little divot in it, but it depends on how it's set in eScribe as to whether that is the up or the down button. It's just so you can tell the two apart. Finally, you've got the micro USB port for connecting for upgrades. I'm also told you can charge through it. Now, it will charge at half an amp. I think it will charge at an amp if you plug it into a power supply that's capable of supplying the necessary current. However, there aren't terribly many of those, so it will charge each cell at half an amp, which usually means they take about 3 hours to charge. So if you plug this in overnight, you should be able to charge your batteries. Right, so let's take the cover off. Back cover's magnetic. Got the battery sled inside, little ribbon for getting the batteries out. Now you've got these sprung negative terminals, and the positive terminals have a little ring round them which will prevent you actually putting the batteries in the wrong way around and blowing the device up. Now back cover, 4 magnets, and it's a zinc alloy. It's the same stuff that the SX Mini is made out of, so it's pretty good. Right, I'll just pop some batteries in and then we'll weigh the thing with batteries in and have a quick look at the other devices that are comparable to it. Okay, so it's time for the weigh-in. I'm going to compare the weight of this with the VT-Box 200. I'm going to compare it with the VT-Box 200 and H-Cigar VT200. Take the atomizer off first, and of course the Reuleaux, just to see what we get. Okay, so VT-Box 200 first. 323 grams. The VT200, 202 grams, and the Reuleaux, comes in at a 321. So 323. So it's actually a couple of grams lighter than the VT-Box 200, and that's with 3 18650s in, giving it more or less double the battery life of the VT-Box 200. Okay, so we'll have a quick look at the controls, and then we'll go back and I will have a quick talk about the device, have a vape, and see what I think of it. Okay, so I've popped a trio of 18650s into the device, 3 Sony VTC4s in fact, and I'll give you a quick run through of the DNA controls just in case you're not familiar with them. First of all, it's 5 clicks to unlock and 5 clicks to lock. When the device is locked, if you press and hold the fire and down button, you can switch between normal mode and stealth mode. So in stealth mode, the display only comes on. If you lock it, in normal mode, usual operation. In locked mode, if you press the up button and the fire button, you can lock the resistance for the temperature control mode. Press and hold and it will unlock again. Take it out of lock mode, power down, power up, press and hold both together and it will lock the power. In power locked mode, 2 clicks of either the up or down button will take you into the profiles. You can then scroll through the profiles using up or down, and it does round robin. When you've found the profile you want, click fire and it will lock it in. With power locked, if you then lock the device as well using the fire button, pressing and holding both power buttons will start the temperature change mode. You can go up to 600, go up one more, it will go off, and it stops at off. If you press down, it will go all the way down to 200 and then switch over to centigrade. You can go down the centigrade and it will keep alternating between centigrade and Fahrenheit. Now, for some reason, it goes into centigrade mode at 230, but it will actually go up to 300. When you go up to 300, it goes to off. Go down through the centigrade, goes to 100, then jumps back to 450 Fahrenheit. I'm assuming the centigrade and Fahrenheit settings are their default. It's the settings that Evolve think you should use. That's pretty much it for controls on the mod itself. Everything else is done through eScribe, and you can either watch my video on eScribe or Mr. P. Basado's epic series of videos on the DNA to learn more about it. You can also go to the Evolve website and follow their interactive tutorial as well. Right, well, I shall bung an atomizer on it and we'll see what we get out of it. Right, well, that's the close-ups done. So, what do I think of the device? Well, first of all, I will let you know that I bought this. It wasn't sent to me for review, and all the opinions of my own. So, that said, let the gushing begin. I love this thing. I absolutely love it. In fact, it's quite probable that I will be buying a second one in the very near future. Why do I love it so much? First of all, size. Now, despite how it looks, because it does look quite big, it's actually extremely comfortable to hold, presumably because of this rounded contour. There are no square edges around the body of the mod. It fits really nicely in the hand, and over the last 4 days I've at times had it in my hand for 3 or 4 hours, more or less continuously. It does, as with all mods, if you hold it for long periods you will get slightly sweaty hands. That happens. But even with that, it's not, it doesn't get slidey. Sorry, drop the lead. It doesn't get slidey and slip out of your hand. You can keep a good grip on it all the time. Because there are no square edges, it feels comfortable. For my size hand, my finger naturally falls on the fire button, and the little finger that puts the grip on at the bottom falls just about below the USB socket, while the other two don't put any pressure on the up and down buttons. Now I was discovering that was a problem, or a minor problem, particularly with the VT Box 200, and a little less so with the H-Cigar VT 200. Operation wise, it's a DNA 200. It behaves exactly as you would expect the DNA 200s to behave. It's pretty much flawless. I haven't had any problems. No screen scrambling like you did with the DNA 40s, none of that. The temperature control has been spot on. It's not drifted. I haven't had to use the atomizer lock, although that said, I'm using my trusted Heron, which I always use for my temperature control builds. No finer atomizer for temperature control, although most people can't cope these days with the restricted airflow. It is definitely just a mouth to lung tank. You can't lung hit on it. Now, the batteries. This has been the big sticking point for most people. They've thought having 3 batteries in it would be too much. Now, as you saw from the little segment where I weighed the thing and compared it to the VT Box 200, it's actually the same weight. Well, it's 2 grams lighter than the VT Box 200, but it's far more comfortable to hold due to the shape. Would I recommend people to buy one? In a heartbeat. I really would, in a heartbeat. If you're in the market for a DNA 200, forget the VT Box 200, the H-Cigar, the Lava Box, well, maybe, but I personally would say buy one of these Reuleaux. You will get battery life like you won't believe. I've been vaping this for 3 days now, and I've still got 20% left on the battery, and that's with a set of Sony VTC 4s, which are 2100 milliamp. I've also got a set of Samsung 30Qs that will be going in after this review, and they will be my all-day batteries. Now, you're getting an extra 9 watt hours, almost a third extra battery life over what I was getting from the VTC 4s. So that should extend my battery life to just about 4 days without charging. Now, for a DNA 200 device, that's got to be good enough. Admittedly, I'm not vaping at very high wattages. I'm only running this at 40 watts in temperature control. So other people may get less battery life, depends on your vaping style. Are there any cons to the device? I would say very, very few, and they're only minor niggles. Now, I pointed out in the earlier segment that there is a reverse battery protection system built in as a little ring around the top of the positive connection. Now, I did notice that on particularly these VTC 4s, it did make getting a battery connection initially a little challenging, because the wrap at the top was catching on those rings. Now, I just ran my thumbnail around it to press it down a little, and after that they worked fine. Other cons, yes, it's heavy. It's 321 grams. I'm not sure I completely see that as a con. Yes, it's not terribly pocket friendly, but I can put this in a trouser pocket and I can sit down and it's perfectly comfortable. Presumably it has something to do with this shape. I don't know. I just discovered I could sit down quite easily with this in a trouser pocket. And I've sat down in the car at the office desk and it's been fine. I don't normally keep a mod in my pockets, but a few people had asked about keeping it in the pocket, so I tried it. Other cons, do you know, I think that's it. Some people may not like the paintwork. I'm not having any problems. It doesn't seem to be bubbling or scratching like the early SX Minis were, although the body of it is made from a zinc alloy similar to the SX Mini. Other people have reported that there's a lot of battery rattle or a lot of rattle from the door. There is a tiny bit if you physically push the door up and down with your fingers, but I'm not getting any side to side. And if you shake it, no button rattles, nothing. So mine is fine. There aren't much in the way of gaps on it. It all feels really well put together. So my personal thoughts, very little to mark this mod down. Well, I will put up, just after this, a few information screens, a couple of screenshots of the eScribe settings for the batteries and for the case analyzer, and I'll also put up the usual information screen with size, weight, construction and where you can buy it from at what price. Although I will say Vape Geek have it on at £129.99 at the moment. I got mine from Joytech and I paid a lot more for it. I paid £169, but I did get 3 Sony VTC4s. But I couldn't wait. I wanted to get one in my hand and I wanted to get this review out. Well, that's it. I hope you've found this at least mildly informational. I've been Tubbyengineer. Thank you for watching. Bye now.